Hi Capricorn, this is your March 2024 reading. Take it maybe as a 6-week overview. I'm recording now just off the back of the Aquarius new moon in mid-February. So I do want to look at February. I want to look at March, of course, and as we end the month of March this year, there is a lunar eclipse full moon in Libra on the 25th of March. So I would like to look into what the energies around the eclipse are in particular for you too, Capricorn. So I've pulled 3 cards here just to roughly start off, and then I'm going to keep pulling cards as we go through this reading. The Star card came through in reverse for the February energy. This is the Aquarian energy. There's been a lot going on in the sign of Aquarius. So look to your chart, figure out where Aquarius is. The house is the area of life that this is all playing out in for you. And upright, this is a very wholesome energy, as we know. It's really, optimistic, and it's very much about our wishes and our aspirations. The reversal of this is telling me that something has gone down recently for you, Capricorn, where you're still processing a disappointment. I intend to look into that, of course, and the disappointment that you feel or felt, at least in February, disillusionment, disenchantment. It's something perhaps that, you had your hopes set on, you wished for this, something might have fallen through. The disappointment has almost for some of you, it's as deep actually as it having felt like it's taken something from you, taken a part of you. And you know what, it was you had built up such a high hope on this, and that's what really kind of is the kicker. And I just think that with the Death card at the bottom of the deck, the 10 of Wands, this is about the burden of this, or the heaviness of this. It makes me want to say, Capricorn, that, if there's any grieving to be done because of this disappointment or even indeed a loss, that it can be heavy, and that's going to be something that you're going to work through, of course, but it's not going to be a linear sort of cycle here. The other thing is, though, the recent transit of an ingress of the very metamorphosizing and cataclysmic and transformative Pluto into the sign of Aquarius is tipping off this kind of healing journey in an area of our life, a journey of transformation. Again, that's going to be the Aquarian part of your chart, the Aquarius house. That's where a brand new cycle of 15 years worth of soul development is taking place. As we move into the month of March, the Ace of Swords comes through. Okay, so finally you get all those questions answered in March. Finally the insight comes, the clarity, the breakthrough, the triumph. And I say it's not linear because I do see the 5 of Pentacles coming up around the end of the month, and it could be just a licking of the wounds, it could be a recuperation. This person is laid off, of course. Maybe there maybe has been an injury recently. I know this is just going to be very specific to a Capricorn watching perhaps, but maybe a loss of a job, a loss of a person, a separation, something that's really taken its toll and sort of left you feeling like, I've got to heal from this, I've got to look after myself. And some of you are being laid off in a sense, or some of you have felt that kind of feeling of termination on some level, or laid up, that person's foot is broken, so they need to take some time for sure. Let's have a look at what's been going on for you in February. So I do think that this is certainly going to be one of those readings, Capricorn, they don't happen often, where it's going to be important for you to take what resonates and leave the rest. It is a general reading, of course, but it's not going to be for everybody. The Star card in the reversal. Let's go deeper into February. Disappointment, disillusionment, and what set you back? What was that setback about? And how are you moving on from it? I have got the Fool card, and I've got the this is the 10, oh no, pardon me, this is, I'm so bad with these Roman numerals. It's a Wand card, and it's the 4 of Wands. Sorry about that. The Fool card and the 4 of Wands. Okay, so there was something that was due to begin for you. There was something that was looking really optimistic at a certain point for you. Not that it was a sure thing, but I think that that's the general feeling I'm getting. Like, this was set in stone. This was kind of like at a point where it had already progressed so far that, you know, it was kind of like very random if it fell through, or like you might say just bad luck. But it's just very interesting that something had begun, had a lot of optimism around it. It looked like this was the fresh start, the new chapter, the beginning that you were really like looking for, and it felt, oh, that's what's happening. These hydrangeas are dripping wet. And you know, there is this energy now of like, okay, so something was so something had already like given you results or manifested, and then there was a disappointment around that, which is really tricky. Especially, you know, since there were other people involved, or your family knew about it, and it had almost been like a premature celebration of a recently, like you had already celebrated something, be it in your head or even publicly, and then there was this sort of disenchantment that happened where you either weren't going to go ahead with this at all, or an aspect of it had been drastically different or transformed, and either, you know, something you thought was going to be very easy turned out that it was going to be a lot more hard work and effort. So there is just that. But I mean, the thing is, I think a part of this can be saved, and I think that that's how you're moving on at the moment, because it's definitely not like all hope is lost. It's definitely not even like that was a complete waste of time. Nothing really is a waste of time. It's going to have a valuable lesson for you, but some of this can be salvaged, and there is still a lot of like tangible, concrete, something that you can still bring forward from this. So that's kind of helping you to move on. You're not going back to level 0. You got to like level 5, 6, 7. You're back to level 4 as such. Do you know what I mean? You've made your check-in, and it's like you're playing a video game. It's like you're saving your spot on a certain level of progress. And even though there's been a setback that you're kind of experiencing, or did experience in February, depending when you saw this, rest assured that you're still going to be able to take something from that, and it's still going to be able to work out well in certain aspects for you. Okay. The Ace of Swords. So let's have a look deeper into the month of March. This to me is a big breakthrough of a month for you overall, where, you know, a lot of things get straightened out for you. A lot of loose ends get tied up in March overall. And you're laying down a nice sort of foundation for yourself in March, and it's a nice loose ends tied up, unscrambling. You know, your thoughts are unscrambled. You have like downloads, you have idea and insight. What else is happening in March? We have another ace at the bottom of the deck. Oh no, sorry, we have a 2, but ignore me. The 3 of Cups, very celebratory, and the 2 of Cups. Okay, so this is actually a very wholesome month for you, especially in March in terms of your relationships. Your romantic relationship is thriving. If that's not the case, your friendships are thriving. Both are thriving. Your relationships with your family. Maybe this is just an overall time where you feel super connected and have a very strong emotional support system around around you. If you are single Capricorn, March could be a month where you meet somebody, you go on a date, you share some quality time with the person that you're interested in romantically. This could be a great month to say yes to a date, to say yes to a meetup or a hangout with somebody. If you are romantically involved with somebody, it's going to be a nice romantic and vibey month for your love life, where you're kind of connected more, where you're enjoying each other's company, where there's a lot of understanding and flow between you, and a lot of consciousness in the relationship, where you're both really understanding each other and truly wanting what's best for one another. So romance and love is really at a high point in the month of March. If that's not something you're interested in either way at all, and even if you are, this could still be applying here, I feel like you say yes to certain offers to kind of like work with others. You have many decisions on your plate in the month of March, none that are hard, all that just need to have some consideration, but for the most part it's very instinctive for you, and you're actually really relieved in March to have to be in the position to be kind of like, at least things are on the table now. So before March comes along, you know, there may have been not exactly stagnation, but there was only so far you could go with something. And now in March, it's all just about you answering yes or no, approving or not. I think you say yes to mostly everything that comes your way. This is a yes. The Ace of Swords and the Two of Cups is very much about getting into sort of agreements, and it doesn't all have to be contractual. Some of it may be, a lot of it will be just in good faith, you know, I'm going to do this for you, and it's an agreement, and you know, you're even getting like contacted to sort of partner up or pair up with people, and you don't need a contract. Like, it doesn't need to be legally binding. It's just all taken in good faith. There's an understanding, there's a pact, there's like a promise basically. So you may find yourself this month in March honoring a vow, honoring a commitment, making a promise to somebody else and having that upheld. I feel like Capricorn, if you need to be taken under the wing of anybody at this time, March is a great month to be shown the way, and I don't think that that's going to be something that Capricorn is always comfortable with, as a sign that's more kind of pivoted towards leadership. Sometimes we need to be shown the way too. The Three of Cups, and you know, there's big celebration for you. I think, you know, overall there has been a lot of like hosting, celebration, dinner parties. You know, what else could have been happening? Just like being hosted, being kind of like comfortably sitting at a table and having good food, good wine, good drinks, and just like really enjoying people's company. It could, you know, I feel like it's been very sociable for you probably, or just like in good company around more people. Yeah, I think overall like the message for March is say yes to hangouts, say yes to opportunities. Opportunities are coming your way in March. They on surface actually look like they are all about you just making decisions and finalizing, and like everything kind of coming together finally in March, like all the loose ends being tied up, like I said. But a little deeper than that, the Two and Three of Cups say like there's people that really want to see you and spend time with you. Don't shy away, and actually don't like open your heart, not don't open your heart. Open your heart, full stop, to other people coming into your life, and people that want to see you, and more friends around, siblings, like those kind of relationships are all highlighted and working really well. March looks like an easier month than what's been going on for you lately, the bulk of it anyway. There is still something coming through at the end of the month, but the sun moves out of Pisces, where it can feel like a little bit of a, just sort of like a quick dreamland walk, run through, where things just felt very romantic, vibey, special, and then the sun moves into Aries and shit gets a little bit realer, especially after the 20th of March, when the sun leaves Pisces, of course, and we gear up to have the eclipse in the sign of Libra. This is a south node lunar eclipse, full moon in the sign of Libra. It's part of a series that's been ongoing now, kind of popping off in your birth chart, and for everybody in the collective, this has been happening for the whole rest of, like, last year it began around this time, around April of 2023, and it's continuing a cycle there. It's continuing a storyline in the Libra and Aries houses in your birth chart. A house represents an area of life. So figure out where Libra and Aries is in your chart, and what is that house and what happens in that house. That's where there is this kind of like infusion of energy and, I guess, like more radical beginnings, progressive endings, turning points, pivotal sort of markers, and sort of like felt themes. That's kind of the nature of eclipses, all leading us towards destiny, towards purpose. We're never being, we're sometimes redirected and rerouted, and that can feel strange, but it's never to bring us away from the ultimate raison d'etre, as they would say. So we have again, a reversal here of the King of Pentacles. Interesting. And another two of Swords. So another decision to be made. Yeah, okay, so dealing with a Taurus. If you're dealing with a Taurus at the moment, Capricorn, it may actually be their energy that is quite depleted, or very withdrawn, or just a little downtrodden, I'm going to say. I'm going to say that they've a bit worse for wear, even physically. Injury, back pain, like something that's kind of like crops up again and again and is linked to some sort of potentially an emotional strain, or feeling of worry. I feel like the emotion that's attached to this physical ailment at the moment, if indeed you prescribe to that, could be something like worry, desperation, fretting. The other thing would be on a little bit more of a deeper psychological kind of feeling or imprint, might be like a physical ailment currently associated with a abandonment, rejection, or like low self-worth. So that could be you. It doesn't have to be a Taurus. It could be somebody else you're dealing with. But yeah, a low ebb anyway. Okay. So money is tighter at the end of the month. Not necessarily just for you, Capricorn. I certainly don't want to freak you out. But money is noticeably tighter around you. Okay, so you could be just looking at the world at large and being like, holy shit, inflation. Like I went on and like talk about first world problems, but I went on like just to price a hotel that I've stayed in many times today, and it's like, granted, okay, no, and it wasn't just because it's like coming up to like Valentine's Day or whatever. I looked back, like all month in February, a slow month, and in March it's like $250 more a night than it was when I stayed there. It was 2 years ago I stayed there, and I think I've stayed there like 2 or 3 times. I was like, whoa, like the cost of everything is going up like so much. Like, and like, God, talk about first world problems, would you hear me? But just an example of like, you might not be personally dealing with like a financial woe, you might be, but just the noticeable change in how things cost more now is stressful in a way. Or it's like, it might not even be stressful. Maybe, you know, you have a very healthy relationship with the flow and energy exchange around money, and you can kind of just feel rest assured that it will be coming and going, and that's just the nature of it. But for some, especially those with like a lot of responsibility, or just like sometimes shock is tied into that. Like I was shocked. Sometimes shock is also part of like a process of when things are going to slow down for you financially because of an external circumstance that can create a ripple effect of like a lack of feeling secure. I do see that coming up at the end of the month. Whether or not that's tied to financial security or not, it might be just something, Capricorn, related to something like one of those little deeper kind of niggling sort of like wounds that haven't really fully been integrated. Like, do you feel safe and secure within yourself, even without the job title, even without the support or validation or recognition from people close to you? Are you still able to sort of feel a sense of like strong inner like security despite anything external that's happening, be it an injury, be it a job loss? And I'm not saying it's going to be any of those things. It's literally just because what's on these cards, what really the Five of Pentacles talks about mainly is a worry over something material, a worry over being included, even like, is there a place for me here? That kind of stuff can come up with this eclipse. The King of Pentacles in the reversal. A more positive way of looking at this presents an opportunity to, and this is not financial advice, but it is in the financial sort of sphere of these, or the wheelhouse of these cards, to go a little bit outside of the box with something. It's a Taurus energy. We've got Uranus in Taurus. We've got Jupiter in Taurus. This will all be looking up for you, Capricorn, come the 20th of April. I know we're only around the 20th of March here in this reading, but when we jump forward to April 20th, 2024, we have Uranus and Jupiter conjunct in the sign of Taurus, which is a very, very different energy to what we're working with now. Like I said at the beginning of this reading, I could tell that you're carrying with you something from February. March really does look like a nice break and actually a very enjoyable and connected month. But again, this process is not linear, and the transformation that you're going through is something that is ongoing. Now, it's not like nothing lasts forever, of course, and this reading, really just take what resonates, leave the rest. It would only confuse you, or it would make no sense to make this fit if it doesn't, because this is what the intention is. It will resonate if it does, and if not, it's okay, it's not for you. What happens then in April is a kind of very different energy for you. Like, I mean, you think March is the breakthrough. I really think later on in April is truly like, you know, you're leaving a lot of these woes, worries, and complaints in the past. But what was coming up with that was like Uranus, unpredictability, new paradigm, awakening, radical, surprise, ingenious, inventive, all those kind of things. In the sign of Taurus, which is our kind of like our basics, our money, our food, our, you know, we're seeing disruption. That's Uranus in the distribution of food, and the farmers and the everybody coming together is in a kind of Uranian sort of what's the future looking like kind of a way. What about the basics, about money? You know, things might become decentralized, things might become digitalized, all very like interesting Taurian changes that are taking place. The basics, we're talking food, we're talking, you know, food at the most basic. That's like our most basic, isn't it? Food. So what I was going to get at there is the opportunity, major sidetrack here, but the opportunity for you at the end of this month is to go a little outside of the box, maybe even way outside of the box. You might have some downtime to actually do this, to research, to look into new ways of making money, new ways of investing, things that are surprising to you, Capricorn. And I have a Capricorn North Node in the 4th house, so I'd be conservative like that. You know, I would be conservative around, like, I don't like to invest in risky things. I like to invest in conservative ventures. I'm not looking to make a quick buck. I'm looking to make my investments last and stretch, if that makes any sense. Now, this is not financial advice, but you might be able to find an opportunity to go a little bit outside of the norm in terms of what you usually do to make money, or to feel. It's all about, it's not even about the money you're making and the amount, it's about the feeling of security that accompanies it, so that you can springboard spiritually to other things that are, let's be real, much more important than money, but it is a spiritual service to yourself to provide a foundation where you can jump and leap and dream big and move from and pursue other ventures. So it is all relative, but you're just feeling, you know, I would use your discernment. I feel like some of you guys are, I'll just say this, if like in February you were upset or disappointed to find that progress had been made and then it was been cut, or it was been chopped apart a little bit, or it was kind of being altered in a way which, you know, you had made the announcement, you had already kind of celebrated in your head, or kind of like counted your chickens before they hatched, basically. If something like that plays out again for you at the end of March, there might be something to reflect on there. Why am I getting no's? Why is this such a block for me? It's not to say it won't come around at all, but it might be time to dig a little deeper. Capricorn, I'm going to leave your year ahead reading linked below for all of 2024. I also did a little chat about Pluto's ingress into Aquarius and what it means for the collective. I'll link that too. I would really appreciate a subscription, of course, or like and share and comment, whatever you feel like doing to support this work here. But other than that, I hope that you have a wonderful March. It looks very beautiful for you, and really enjoy those times and close-knit connections that are forming and deepening for you in your world. I'll talk to you later. Bye.